Okay, I'm here with Akira. Akira, come. I'm going to be using a clicker in this video to show you how you can teach your dog. Akira likes to whine and she gets anxious when she's in the car. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use some free shaping. So you need to learn how to prime the clicker. If you haven't done that, go to my website. There's videos on how to prime the clicker. So what I'm going to do is I want her to look at the grill, which is going to be representing the car. And so what I'm doing is I'm just waiting. So as soon as she looks at the car, I click. So the click is to indicate when the dog does what you want. Now I've got the treat, up, sit. So right now she's interested in doing a whole lot of things, so she might not cooperate, so I'll probably just pantomime. So basically you kind of want to position her so she's kind of looking in the direction of the car. And you can marry it with saying the command word of car if you want it to come up with a command. So for a lot of dogs being in the car and driving, there's too many things going on. There's all this stuff passing by, there's people in the car, there's people outside the car, and there's just too much stuff, and I've got motion sickness, some dogs have, and so there's a lot of things that are going on that stresses the dog out. So for this, what we want to do is we want a dog just build a relaxed response. So basically you're sitting outside, and again, I would exercise her first, give her 10 minutes to recover, then come outside, go to your car, and let's say this represents the front of the car and that's the back of the car, these are the sides. So basically I stand here and try to get the dog kind of looking somewhat in this direction, not necessarily facing the car, but facing this way or that way. And I have treats in my hand and on the clicker, and I'm just waiting for her to look at the car on her own. If you have to, you step on the leash. And as soon as she looks at the car, you click, then you give her the treat and you say the word car, or whatever the word is you want to use. After a while, at first it's going to be accidental, after a while she'll start staring at the car. Then when she's really just staring at the car the whole time, one of it maybe be on that side, so she sees the car from the side and then from behind. So you're going to go all 4 quadrants. Once you get to the point where she's just looking at the car, because looking at the car gets me treats, then let's say that this is now the side of the car and this is the door handle. Make sure you wipe this off after I leave. So basically I go to where it is. Akira, come. Sit. Sit. Then I reach for the handle. Now this is the car, she's probably going to get up and start wiggling. So I reach, I don't even intend on touching the handle. I just reach a little bit, she gets up, I stop, I tell her to sit. 1 time. If she sits within 3 seconds, I would click and give her the treat. Or if she just keeps on getting up after you treat her, then maybe sit. As soon as she sits, you reach for your handle. And at first you're only reaching this far. As she gets up, you put your hands back to neutral, and she has to sit. So I tell her to sit. If she sits in 3 seconds, I continue. If she doesn't, I maybe walk away, and then the exercise is over. In this case, we probably want to try to get her to do it. So wait for her to kind of re-engage. So basically, sit, sit. And I reach for it, and I want to just break this down in individual steps. Just reaching for the handle. I reach for the handle, and so what I would do is kind of do it like this. So I reach for the handle, because she didn't get up. I reach for the handle, and then give her the treat. Now she hasn't done this enough, that's why she wants some water. All right, so basically, now reaching for the handle, if I stay seated, I get a treat for that. And once I can actually touch the handle, then I jiggle it. And we have a stunt man behind the camera, we didn't even see it. So we jiggle a little bit, but we don't open the door. And we jiggle it, she's probably gonna get up. When she does, we stop, we tell her to sit. When she sits, then I reach for it and jiggle it again. We keep doing this step until I can jiggle it as loud as I want and she stays seated. Next step is I'd open it just a crack. If she gets up, I close it and tell her to sit again. Eventually, you can open it a crack and she stays seated. And then you close it and then you click and give her the treat. So eventually now we're opening the door, and you open it and she stays, and make sure you have her seated in a place where the door can open where she can stay seated. And you open it, click, give her the treat and close the door. So now I don't even go in the car. I just, the door opens and you see how fast she's already starting coming now that we're using the clicker. So eventually, then you would have the door open and have her sit here and wait for her to look inside the car. When she does, you click, give her the treat, and say the word car or whatever it is. And you do that about 5, and this is something you're going to do over the course of several practice sessions, not all at once. And this might take 1 stage just going around it, 2nd stage sitting next to it, 3rd stage reaching for the door handle, and so on. So eventually the door's open, she's here, she can look in the car, and all she does is look in and we click and give her the treat. The next, after we've done that, she's pretty much just staring inside the car. Then I put a treat just right outside the car on the seat. So she goes over and takes it, and as soon as she does, you click when she leans for it. When she gets the treat, actually when she leans, you would click, and then when she gets the treat, say car again. So at first it's here, then eventually it's here, here, here. You're moving it further in. And if she's leaning like this, she's telling you, I'm not comfortable by the lean. So you keep doing it at the same spot until she comes up and her feet are underneath, she licks it and walks away. But we're not making her get in the car. So we're bringing this down individual steps and she gets rewarded for it. Then eventually I could put it here, 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 and eventually she has to like put a foot on the footstep to lean in to get it. And eventually she gets in the car completely on her own. When she gets in the car, and for some people, this is when this is when you actually start marking it by saying the word car. Maybe all the other things you just mark it. Click when she does what you want and give her the treat and don't say anything. But once she actually gets in the car with all 4 feet, click, give her the treat. And the first time she does it, give her what we call a jackpot. So click, car, 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 car. She's like, what did I just do? Did I just get the mother load of treats? So she goes in the car and she gets 5 treats and then we let her exit. Then we close the door and then we repeat the whole process. So now it's just, my humans are weirdos. They just like me to go in the car and I get treats and I leave the car. The first or second time I would do the jackpot. After that I would just treat her just 1 treat for going in there. So after a while, now I've conditioned her to looking at the car is a good thing, sitting next to the car is a good thing, sitting quietly when the door's open, and then eventually looking in the car and then getting in the car is a good thing. The last stage is actually drive, well, I guess there's could be a couple more stages, and don't be afraid to make other stages as you need to.
Yeah.
So the next stage is once she's in the car, I would close the door, and then I would immediately open it, click, and then give her a treat. So as soon as you close it, open it right away, because we don't want her to panic and start whining, which is the whole point we were trying to avoid. And at first you close it and then open it back up. After you do this enough times where she looks settled, you close it and take your hand off and then immediately go back. So it's only closed for 1 second. Then eventually 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Eventually you can close it and she's comfortable. And when you get to about 15 or 20 seconds where she's sitting there, she's not whining, then you close it and then you go over and you open your door. And then as soon as you open your door, you click and reach in and give her the treat. And then close your door, go back and open your door, let her go out. Or you can have her stay in there, it depends on how much time you have. But now we're conditioning her to go in there. I close the door, then I open the driver's door. And when I open the driver's door, you get a treat for that. And then eventually you're gonna get into the car and then you get in, give her a treat, and then you exit. You don't even close the door. If you do that a couple times, then you get in and close the door and give her the treat. And that's what you got in a camera. And then basically, after you do this enough times, then you can get in and you can jingle your keys. But don't put them in, just jingle the sound. And then give her the treat, and then get out and let her, and then rep it. Eventually get in and you put it in the car, put it in and turn it. Don't turn it all the way on, just so your radio comes on, then take it out, give her the treat. Eventually you're turning it on. And when you actually start driving, what you want to do is at first you put it, just have your foot on the brake, put it in reverse, and let it idle just outside your driveway. Give her the treat, then put it in drive and let it idle up your driveway. Give her the treat, and then let her exit. Now again, we set her up for success by exercising her first, and then we broke each individual step of getting in the car and eventually driving the car into small steps and made it a rewardable thing without going on to the next stage. And then when you actually start driving, some dogs do get motion sickness. I mean, she's never thrown up, but it might be just so many things are moving by too fast. So this is actually, Corona is a good time to do this. What I usually recommend is drive around your block, but let the car idle. So you drive like you're driving a boat. So you just put it in idle, let it go down the street. When you're gonna stop at the stop sign, you start slowing down way early. You want it to be so progressive, it's like the most calm, relaxing experience ever. And what we want her to do is build success on success. In her case, success is not whining in the car. And eventually you go around 2 blocks, and then 3 blocks. And eventually you start adding a little bit of speed and a little bit more aggressiveness on the turns and the accelerating and breaking down. But what we've done is we've essentially created a positive association. We helped her practice each individual step or stage of being in the car and paired it with something positive. And again, we set her up for success by the exercise. After she does this enough, she'll get used to just hanging in the car without whining. Now, a couple of little tips. Some dogs get vertigo and they don't like to see things past the car. So the guardians have noticed that when they have a new car, that she's kind of barricaded in the middle seat. She can't move around as much. She's a lot more settled. So that we call it aroused when the dog moves around. I've had some clients where they actually take some heavy tinting and put it on the side, so the dog can't see the stuff that's passing by really fast. Sometimes that's what throws them off. And so if you don't want to do that, then you gradually go down the road a little bit faster, so she gets used to it, and it's a progressive thing. But I would start practicing this about a month to 2 months before you're actually going to start your road trips, and try to do this like 2 or 3 times a day. Each practice session is like less than 3 minutes. I would exercise her first, give her 10 minutes recover, then spend 3 to 5 minutes doing this, and gradually get longer and longer. And eventually she just likes going in the car. She'll probably whine, "Why don't you let me in the car?" instead of whining in the car. Akira, come. Come. Let's show everybody who you are. Here. Sit. This is my buddy Akira, and these are some tips and tricks you can use if your dog likes to whine or get whimpery in the car.